All right, thank you for being patient.
Oh, not a
Do you
problem.
want to introduce
I totally
yourself?
understand.
And we don't have anybody online?
No, we
Okay,
don't.
did
Not
you want to
as of
introduce
yet.
yourself?
I'm Dave Cooley with the Erie Park and Rec District. I don't want
Nice
to
to
take up too
meet
much of your time.
you. Nice to meet you.
Just have a couple questions for you when you got time for me.
Okay. Did you guys, so in the past, we always would let our guests speak and then go on with our regular meeting, and if
Mhm.
they wanted to stay, they could. Did you guys have any objections to that, or is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So, as you guys know, we are in probably one of the hottest fisheries here on the Columbia River. The Erie Park District has a major problem with out-of-state boaters. They overrun our park every day. And to be nice, they can be point blank assholes sometimes. They have no respect for anybody. They don't care about anything except for themselves. We are very seriously thinking about implementing a launch fee at the Erie Park. We were just wondering what your guys' thoughts might be, if you ever thought about doing something like that, or if you thought about doing it in the future. Because I flat guarantee you that if we put one in, you're gonna have those guys down here causing problems.
Ted, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, we receive money from the Marine Board every year. I don't know if you do.
We do too as well, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't had a problem with out-of-state voters. In fact, we have tons of parking.
Well, you have a lot more parking than we have.
Oh, yeah, quite a bit more.
Right.
And it's not been a problem. And I know if you institute a launch fee, they'll come to us. And I don't, at this point, I don't see a big problem with that. You know, most people are pretty respectful of the fishermen, whether they're from Oregon or Washington or Idaho.
So a few weeks ago, we had the watermelon festival. And it is customary that we always close the main entrance of the park. And we open up our 7th west entrance, which is an emergency entrance only, to boat traffic. And everybody usually obeys the sandwich sign out front that has a big sign that says boat launch with an arrow pointing towards West 7th, and then they go down there and launch. You always have Washington boaters that will drive right past it and right down through the park. And when you ask them, did you see the sign down there? Nope, I didn't see your sign. I don't care about your sign.
So are you going to monitor that? Or are you going to trust them to pay?
No, it'll be monitored by the Morrow County Sheriff's Department. I was trying to, here's a picture of, and you can pass this around if you want, and if you just slide it left to right, you will see where this guy is parked. He's parked along the curb in a two-way road, the main road of the park, along the curb, blocking one lane of traffic. Didn't have a care in the world.
Oh, that's what you tell them.
Well, we've had a problem in the past, and we just got it rectified with the Morrow County Sheriff's Department, where for some reason, in their infamous wisdom, they didn't think they had any
Yeah, makes sense.
jurisdiction within the park. And I thought, it's a public place.
It's in city limits.
It's in city limits and
Here,
it's a
Dave.
public place. So we went round and round for quite a while. I finally got a hold of Norm Rasmussen. You guys probably know Norm.
Yeah.
He got a hold of the federal attorney. The federal attorney wrote me a nice email stating that the Morrow County Sheriff's Department has all jurisdiction within the park and can write traffic citations and can authorize towing and everything else, just like a normal public place. And he also sent me an attachment from 1972, which was an agreement between the Morrow County Sheriff's Department and the Oregon Park District.
So what are you, what were you wanting to accomplish today?
All
Just to
I
give us
wanted to
notice?
accomplish today with you folks is to see if maybe you have ever thought about putting in a launch fee.
We thought about it for a brief moment. We had one discussion over it. We didn't want to have to monitor it.
Well, the Sheriff's Department will monitor it for you.
How are they gonna monitor
We don't.
It's what it is. It's an honorary pay.
Okay.
So there's a box there, just like a state campground. You take your little thing, you fill it out, you put your $5 in, you pull part of it apart, you put it on your dash, you put the rest of it in the box.
Okay.
If you don't have that piece of paper on your dash, then you are subject to a violation. The only people that would be exempt from that fee would be people in the 97844 zip code, Oregon zip code, because they pay property taxes to help supplement the park. So they wouldn't have to pay.
That might exclude us though, if we were to try to apply for grants.
No, it does not, because we thought that as well. That if we were getting revenue, that we wouldn't be able to get Marine Board grants and stuff. But there's a dollar limit, a $2 limit on that. So if you go above that, then you are excluded. But if, let me take that back. You can charge $5 for a launch fee. But if you're making, let's see, how does that work? I have to go back and see how it's worded. But no, you are not excluded from grants. We've already checked it, Joe.
Well, yeah, grants we could get, the MAP funds would.
The MAP fund, yes.
Would be either reduced, depending on how much we took in, or eliminated, if we took in enough.
No, it won't at all.
Well, that's not my understanding.
That's-
It is.
Huh?
He's right. You can go up to $2 and not have it reduced at all.
Was it $2?
Once
Okay.
you go above that $2, it's a percentage
And you know-
reduction, and then once you get to 5, you're completely out.
The fee to us really isn't,
Well, and I was just gonna say, I don't know that we've not had a problem. have we?
Well, no, we have not had a problem. I don't know. I mean, do you want us to do a fee as well?
no, I'm not asking you to do a fee.
So I would suggest you do one and send them over here. I mean, we're okay with it. We get quite a few out-of-staters here. In
Yeah.
fact,
When I did my study this summer, because I was coming down every day to count who we had for what state and stuff, we're 50-50.
Oh, we're 99% Washington. We can't, our Oregon resident people can't even use their own marina.
Send them
So-
over here.
So, well, not necessarily send them, but go ahead and put your launch fee on.
Yeah, I just suggest you do that.
I mean, $2 or whatever, they may not want to spend the gas.
I was
to
gonna
come to
say,
Sturgeon,
Washington
but
people that dumb, they're gonna drive
they're-
40 miles
Yeah,
They are.
to save $5.
yeah, they're not,
Well,
Most
from
of them rigs
Oregon, Oregon here to here is 11 miles, so
at 22
they,
miles
they'll
an hour.
drive,
Yeah.
they'll drive for saving $1. My wife would drive for $1.
Huh.
Yes.
I'm driving a $30,000 boat, I ain't worried about $5.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, but we have plenty of parking. Our parking lot can get full, but there's actually 2 parking lots south of that. They can use.
Oh, we have overflow parking too that is always full
Yeah,
and they don't want to walk. They would rather,
see, I can see an issue with parking, where they shouldn't be parked. you know, which we can take care of when it happens. You know, make sure that it doesn't happen more. But I think you guys need to do what's best for the people in Erie, because they're the ones that are paying the tax.
Mhm.
You know, at this point, I believe we're doing okay. You know, and we can handle more people if we need to.
Oh, sure you can. You've got a lot larger marina than we do.
Yeah, so, yeah, I would suggest you do that, you know. and that's-
Clear it out a little bit for you.
Well, that's the whole, we need to. Is,
Sounds like you just need to get rid of your butt heads.
Yeah.
and there's a lot of them.
So,
Well, we appreciate you letting us know, because then we can be prepared. I mean,
Yeah.
that's.
Well,
really
yeah,
good.
and that's all I wanted to do is, I mean, if you guys ever thought about doing something, or let you know that coming down the road, you might see an influx of boaters, Washington boaters using the
Okay,
marina.
all right.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Good.
told us that.
And,
Yeah, thank you.
because they can be flat rude.
That's
Probably should
not
be sure
fun.
Ted's dealt with a few of them now and then.
Yeah, oh, yeah. But for the most part, you know, the fishermen are pretty decent people. You know, I mean, there's always the few that ruin it for everybody else, so, and we understand that, so, yeah, if you guys go ahead and do that, that's okay. You know, we'll be ready for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I am glad you told us too, so we know what's going on.
Right?
Yeah.
If we get rude ones, we'll say, hey, you know, you're supposed to be married.
No, well, that's all I wanted to tell you
It's all
guys.
right, thank
And let you
you.
know.
Thank you.
So-
Thanks, Dave.
Enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good
Thanks for
day.
waiting.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so, has everybody read the minutes? Does anybody have any comments on the minutes?
You
Do we have a, what?
do. Said you do.
No, I don't. Actually, I'm good with them. Just letting you all know that if anybody's has any objections to it, I would definitely take a motion to approve them.
So I did add a step on here. I don't know if you saw that, approval of the meeting agenda. That was one of those things that we learned in the meeting.
We have to approve our
Yes,
agenda?
yes, you're supposed to approve it at the beginning of the meeting when we start.
No. freaking goodness.
Yep, so if there's nothing else that needs to be added to it tonight, we need to approve the agenda.
So why don't you switch?
But our new business can obviously be added to. Are we not allowed to add to our new business?
You can,
So
but
what?
you should do that when you, before you approve the agenda. We're supposed to approve it. That's why they say it's a proposed agenda before you go to the meeting. And then once you go to the meeting, you're supposed to add whatever needs to be added, approve it. It's a whole
Holy
thing. It's a
smokes.
whole thing.
All right, well, somebody else has to make a motion then.
Is there anything we need to add before we go to approve it?
I'll move that we approve the meeting agenda as stated. Somebody second it, and then we open it up for discussion. if we need to.
I'll second that.
Does anybody feel like they need to discuss it? No, okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, now minutes, anybody have any issues? Approval, motion,
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
all in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Okay,
Who seconded that? You guys did it too fast.
George did.
Georgia.
George did. Yeah,
It's recording
it's
on this,
recording.
but I still try and do as much as I can while we're doing this. Okay.
Shelby, do you want to go over the financials?
Yep, I'm getting there. Okay, first up is the treasury report. Balance in the rec center operating banner account, 39,218.85. Park banner account, 39,635.91. Rec center LGIP is 697,197.62. Debt service is $158,798.51. And then the park LGIP is $1,085,443.06. Any questions on the balances? Let's see. Next Bank of EO loan
So-
payment. Yeah, go ahead.
We're down a lot in our, our operations in our general fund for the park are about half. Is that because of payroll?
The operation, yeah, it'd be the payroll and then all of the bills that have come in this summer with it being busy season.
Yeah, and that's typical.
Yeah, and then we start tapering down until the taxes come in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and when taxes come in, then it goes way up again.
The next Bank of Eastern Oregon loan payment is not due until 1/1/22. On the boat dock loan payment, we are up to a partial payment of $11,545.98. We still have $952.04 that is due. We have one $1,200 annual mortgage that's still outstanding, and we have so far collected $108 in daily rentals for August.
So who's the
So-
1,200?
That would be Ronald Murphy. He's late every year.
Does you want his boat sold underneath him?
Is this the big sailboat down there?
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know, we need to actually tell him to either fix it up or remove the boat. This should be his last year there. Because it's just deteriorating. I mean, it's sat there for years and it's rotting away. I mean, it's fiberglass, it may not sink, but it looks really, really bad.
Is there a way to charge him the late fee?
Yeah, we can do that.
Mhm.
But he doesn't pay at all. I mean,
We sent him a letter, didn't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
and I've called and talked to him.
What's his name?
Ronald Murphy.
You send him to a collection agency?
We haven't done that.
I mean,
He needs to sell the boat to somebody that'll take care of it. You know, the guy's 85 years old.
Oh,
or
wow.
86, and-
And he doesn't live here locally. He's down in Culver.
Right, and his kids don't want to have anything to do with it, but he just won't let go of the boat.
Ask if he'll donate it.
Right.
I can make him an offer that we can help him try to sell it. You know, we'll get part of the money, of course, as our fee, but I think that would be the best thing to do. Because he'll never remove it. We might actually have to put a lien on it, I don't know.
Yeah. How much do you think that boat would be worth if we were trying to sell it?
10 or 12,000 maybe. The last 2 years ago, he said it was worth 60.
Hmm.
But, you know, I just don't. If somebody really liked boats and really knew how to take, to fix them up, it'd be worth a little more to them because they can see something in it.
Mhm.
But as it is now, it's in bad, the outside is in really bad condition.
Yeah.
So, but it could be a really decent boat. I mean, he sailed it to Alaska twice.
Murray. Hey, Murray.
Oh, good Lord.
The next GO bond payment is not due until 12/15/21. Next 3 pages are the amortization schedules for the GO bonds, the boat dock loan, and the Bank of Eastern Oregon loan. Are there any questions on those? There's no questions on those. We'll move on to the park. The first one up is the statement of revenues and expenditures. First column is July of this year. Second column is year is that, it's also July of this year, because we've only got 1 month so far on this. The third column is July of last year, as well as the fourth column, so you can have a comparison between the 2 fiscal years. So total revenue for July of this year, 97,677.19. Total revenue for last year was 63,797.61. So we're up $34,000 in revenue from last year.
Ted, was last year a dip? Or was that
Uh,
in July? The 63,000, was that kind of what we've been before?
Did we get, did the park take a hit on the campers? for
No.
COVID?
no. Well, last year we had those fires.
Mhm.
There was some times it was really bad, people left, and we had to refund quite a bit of money. But no, we were busy last year. I mean, do we have the campground figures?
Yeah, they're
Oh,
Page
yeah.
way in
18.
the back.
Page
Page
18.
18.
Yeah. You look at those.
I remember.
No, this
They're in good shape.
2021, 15,952 sites rented. And this year, last year in July was 1973, this year 1900. That's comparable. No, we're doing okay. I think there's less than overflow. But other than that,
So in the month of July, we've made more money, 30,000 more, but we've had 73 less campers.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So total expenditures for July of this year was 58,897.20. Total expenditures for July of last year was $133,073.62. So last July, we had a negative of $69,027,276.01, and this year we have a revenue of $38,779.60.
It looks like we bought equipment
Yeah, we did.
last year.
That would be the new gator.
Yeah.
There's no questions on that one. The next report is the balance sheet. Now, keep in mind, we have not received our year-end adjustments from the auditor yet to balance this out. So it is still off balance, but once we get those, we should be in balance again. So let's see, receivables for the park is 78,322.99. That is the boat dock, and then also our city contracts.
Where you at right now?
Yeah, where are you?
Accounts receivable. on
Page 11. It's accounts receivable.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
And then accounts payable, it shows a negative 1,885. Part of that is parts that we returned to RDO. And the other part of it is I had to move a bill from July to August, so it created a credit. So. There's no questions on that one. The next one is our budget actual for this fiscal year so far. Yes, so year-to-date actual $132,114.35 for resources. Next page is year-to-date requirements of 109,263.42, which gives us a net so far of 22,850 for the year.
Yeah, but we budgeted totally different. Well, I'm looking at what we're budgeting for last year, comparing last year and this year.
That far column, I forgot to change the date at the top.
Oh, it's 21,
It's,
22.
yes,
Okay,
that's the remaining budget.
all right, all right. I was going, hold on a second.
Yeah, no, I forgot that. one.
Okay,
So it's gonna be the same way on the pool.
okay.
The next report is the bank account activity for the park. The next 4 pages. We're pretty even on the deposits and disbursements going in and out. Are there any questions on that?
On 7-6, the last one, the transfer of 9,000.
6. That is the payroll.
Okay.
Yep.
Total payroll going,
No, it's the pool's portion of federal tax, Medicare, Social Security, state tax, and then the 403B and the 457B retirements.
all right. And then the 50,000 on the 21st.
That is cash that we had received back in March and that we had put into LGIP as a safe keeping
Uh-huh.
for operating expenses for later, that we transferred back so that we could pay the expenses.
Okay. Just about $100,000 difference. Or 99.
No, $1,000.
Oh, you're
Between
right.
the two,
Yeah,
1,000,
1,000, sorry.
yeah, about 1,000.
Cool, cool.
Next one is the campground stats. As you can see, our cash that we actually brought in for this July is down because we've already had reservations that were pre-booked and we didn't have as many cancellations. So the cash that we've actually brought in for this year, in July, was $14,004. Versus last year, it was $23,123.
Yeah, that's pretty weak.
What are we in August so far?
Don't have that. I had that last month for you and I didn't get it this month.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Well, I think we're doing pretty good.
Mhm.
You know, we're pretty well full every night. So,
Yeah, so I would imagine we're probably low again, just because we are always pre-booking and people are canceling and then we're rebooking again. So it's not, we don't always have a whole lot of open sites to bring in money right now. There's no other questions on the park. We'll move on to the pool. Statement of revenue is expenditures. So the first 2 columns are July of this year. The other 2 columns are July of last year. Revenue for July of this year is $30,475.89. July of last year was $51,099.71. Part of this difference is coming as a recommendation from our auditor that our month-to-month fees also be put into an accrued state versus just the annuals. So I'm literally having to track them as to when they're bought, and a portion goes into one month and a portion goes into next month. Yes. Yes. So that's part of why there's this difference. Yep. And then expenditures on the next page for the current month this year, 95,995.47. Last July was 45,921.54. That difference mostly is because of Fantastic Kids and Teen Summer, the extra 30 people that we had to hire for that. A lot of this is gonna be payroll expenses.
When do we get reimbursed for that?
We're working on it now.
Yeah, we're still trying to get all the final numbers together. We're waiting on a bill from the bus department. So we can submit that final bill to Marie to get reimbursed
Oh,
for that.
good.
So
So maybe in September we'll see that.
that's the hope. There's no questions on that one. The next one is the balance sheet. First column is this year, second column is last year. Accounts receivable that we have in there, 26,870.40. Part of that is a bill that we had done up as year end for Morrow County School District to see where we were at. And then also still some leftover from lifeguarding training that had been done. And then the accounts payable, again, the credit, it was from moving a bill from July to August to make sure we were in the right month. Any questions on that?
Unearned revenue of 82,000.
That is membership fees.
Okay.
Most of that is going to be the Port of Morrow membership fees that are prepaid for the year.
Okay.
Next up is the budget to actual for this fiscal year so far. Total resources, 73,875.74. Total requirements, 135,518.17. So right now we are at a net loss of 61,642.43. And that is mostly because of Fantastic Kids and us not billing for that yet.
Hopefully we'll be able to see that on next month.
Yes. The next report is the bank account activity for the pool. Next 5 pages. Total deposits, 85,519.34. Total disbursements out, 137,191.85. So that's a good $50,000 difference.
It's a $60 incentive.
That is money that we get from senior programs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Scott, how are we gonna make up $50,000? What's your thoughts? What's your ideas?
Well,
Oh,
we
I'm
can't cut
sorry.
hours
I
on
was
on
wondering what you were
purpose
looking
if
for.
we have a choice any more than we have. So that's not the way. Sponsorships, grants.
Once you got a plan, that's always one thing.
How are the scans looking here? Because I never know how to read this thing.
Okay, so on the first page, page 30, the very first column at the bottom shows your totals for July of last year. So 1,454.
Okay,
The second page, first column at the bottom, 37,404. That's our scans for July of this year. So it's more than double. And
That's
we were closed every weekend in July last year. So
We getting any directives, Scott, from the state about closing?
I'm sorry.
We getting any information from the state about closing us down because of COVID? I know she made a release today and all I know is how it impacts school.
No, and I was gonna talk about that a little bit when the board.
I think we're still okay, thank God.
So the next one up is our capital expenditures. I didn't give this to you guys at the end of June, so it's a recap for through the end of June. We added, let's see. The campground water heaters. And the new website is what we added. So this is everything that we bought that was a capital expenditure for last fiscal year. In that first page, and then the next 2 pages goes through the last 20+ years. If you guys are interested in looking at that.
Do we ever get paid by BCBA for the disc golf?
Yes, we finally got that last week.
Oh, right.
It's the water heaters I was thinking of,
Yeah.
but those are in like a centralized room and then it, yeah,
Right, they're in the pipe case of the
Yeah.
restroom down there, there's 2 of them.
gotcha. So we bought a mower, we bought a propagator, we bought oh yeah, the boat dock replacement. This fall, but we've been reimbursed for that.
Yes.
Campground water heaters, new website. Covers and the full covers. Got it.
And that would be all I have for you.
I'll accept the motion to approve the financials.
I so move.
We have a second.
Oh, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye, all opposed. Pass. Why do I have my July 28th?
It goes with the new business.
All right, old business,
Or goes with old business, I should say.
youth sports recreation coordinator responsibilities. Whose little topic is that?
So I'll tell you what I've added, just kind of in support for you guys on that. The July 28th, 2020 minutes,
Yeah.
that was when Josh had given his recap. And so there was a highlighted section on there. That's where he gave his recap of what those sports surveys said, just so you guys have that. The next part is the job description for the recreation coordinator. So you guys can see what that job is already responsible for. So I know that was something you guys had said that you wanted to talk about.
And that's what Tessa's doing though, isn't it?
Right.
Correct,
Yes.
yes.
So I was talking to 2 other, well, let's see, who was it? Luis, who does the soccer, youth soccer,
Yeah,
the one that did some programs down here during the July 4th weekend. He does not utilize Tessa at all.
no. I don't think-
He
I
doesn't.
don't think anybody is.
Okay, and I think in reality, I know when Josh and I were working on this, that is the whole idea. We want Tessa to be the hub where people can go to get the information. But Tessa has got to know who's in charge of which leagues. I know you run a travel team for soccer. Okay, right? And then,
Not anymore, it's just a club now, kind of like CYSE.
so are you tied in with Luis then?
No,
Okay, So how do you guys coordinate practices and stuff? Who's got what field and such? At what times?
Since I know CYSC has always done their stuff at the park, they switched from Boardman to the city park. I just do everything at the soccer field.
Are
That's the
you a
freeway.
true club though, where they pay? to
No,
be- oh,
everything is
okay.
free. So in my
Okay.
club, I do fundraisers. That's what my, that's what my soccer tournament in May was for.
Holy
It
smokes.
said I needed to be here. It came up on my phone.
I didn't send anything, so she, it
No,
must have been
no,
an
she
ongoing.
doesn't send me anything.
I'm
More
sorry,
than that,
Karen.
I drop off.
Are you complaining?
Yes, that's the one thing I've always been good at for down here. No, actually, what I really came about is I was gonna send you a thank you card, but I can't ever remember to get it in the mail. And so I wanted to thank you for the nice dedication and the plaque down there. And for, just because I've always been such a negative person about Facebook, I just wanted you to know how great it was that you posted it on Facebook, because people commented about, oh, good job or something, you know what I mean? So
Aw,
patted me
did
on the
they?
back. And
That's neat.
of all of them, I had one boy that, I don't know, he's probably been out of high school 10 years. let's say. Sent a thing. And I haven't heard from him, and how he knew or what he was reading. And I thought, okay, I gotta change my attitude about Facebook.
Yeah.
Because it was really nice to have
Mhm.
Oh, that's
him,
neat.
I mean, like, you know, I've got certain friends that are always gonna say, good job, Karen, just because
Yeah.
they want me to keep going and do good. job. But anyway, I was just so happy that, so I'm gonna take back.
That's awesome.
And people have, I've seen, you know, people and they say, that's a lovely thing.
I've had people comment on it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just out of the blue. They'll be walking down there and then they'll email me or call and say that they really like it.
Yeah.
And so that's neat.
Did you start early today?
We did. We started at 6:15, 6:12
Yeah.
range today.
Scheduled
They
at 6. this
Scheduled at 6. We took a tour, not kind of just walked around and looked at the bathrooms and he told us, you know, what he wanted to rip out and what some of his plans would be.
Okay, because I seen the basketball court, they're ripping it and they want the city hall out. I
Yeah,
don't mean city hall, I mean city park,
yeah. Who's the money provider on that? The backer?
BCDA.
BCDA. Yeah.
We try to pick a few projects during the year, you know, that people would want to get done.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that's gonna be.
Oh, this is a great project,
Yeah.
because when we tore out the one behind City Hall, I mean, I don't think the guys with the jackhammers had even started until I got called. And said, you're not tearing out the, and I, no, we're gonna replace it, because they
Oh,
really didn't want
gotcha.
it gone.
Yeah.
And that one had such a slick finish on it that it was bad for your knees.
Oh, gotcha.
And it was starting to fall a bit, so that was, you know. And this one here, we all know it's the dip of the
Yeah.
water. So, you know, and the one at City Park, it didn't resemble anything that would, other than it had a hoop that would make you think that it
Oh.
was a basketball
Yeah.
court.
Yeah.
You even should go over and shoot baskets.
Well, they're
there.
well used, so I'm really glad to see that
Yes.
they're being replaced.
Yeah, so we
Oh,
were
that's
really
good.
happy that
No, that's really
that
good.
they get a lot of use. And so it seems like a great project. So that
Yeah.
people can
Yeah,
know that, you know, like to put money that we collect back into the community.
yeah. Oh, no, for sure. No, I'm really glad, really, really glad. We were just going over the
Yes.
concept of our recreation coordinator. Right? And
About the field coordinating and teams, and these sports.
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
no, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll let you get back to business.
yeah,
since
thank you.
started
I'm so
early.
glad that you've had a lot of good comments and feedback, I should say, and that Facebook wasn't a detriment.
Glad she saw it. I'm glad you saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see it
On
on
Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah, well, because somebody sent me the Boardman Park Facebook, because I don't know how to find other.
Yeah. It's a
It's
lot.
a
It's a
miracle.
lot.
When something shows up on there. Oh, look, my phone says Facebook.
Yeah.
And the only reason, actually, lately I've been looking is my son-in-law. It's one of these bicycle riders. And he went back to, I don't know where he started. Because he pedaled through Kansas and
Oh,
Colorado and Utah. And so he starts back somewhere.
Oh,
And so I
wow.
was kind of keeping track of how long it took him to go in a day.
Oh, wow.
Well, okay, he's from Oregon. What does he know about a tornado? I mean,
Sure.
this is the thing I've always heard
Yeah.
about my kids traveling is, okay, Oregon, we have a little rain.
Right,
We have
right.
rain, nothing like they have in the south,
Yeah,
nothing. We have wind, but it's not a tornado.
right.
So I never knew if they knew like how to protect themselves. or not.
Yeah.
So, Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of funny. I'm glad that you had good feedback though. That's awesome. I
Oh,
was a
and
little worried. I'm not gonna lie. When Shelby posted it, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, good Lord.
no, and it was almost immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody.
And I
sent me-
shared it everywhere on Facebook.
I know,
Everywhere.
Well, and
But
somebody-
everything that was said, it was all extremely nice and everybody was very congratulatory.
Yeah.
There was nothing bad
Nice.
said or written.
No.
So
Good.
No.
Yeah, you just don't
I mean,
know.
you've done a
Legend
great
now.
job. She's done a great
You're a
job.
Facebook legend.
Yeah. Legend, yeah.
We'll have to direct traffic down there. Go look at the.
Yeah.
Go to the gazebo.
Historical marker.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, I was not thinking that. But I was pleased, and my family is really pleased, by the way.
Oh, good,
that,
good.
yeah.
Has Cameron been here to see it?
Oh, heck no, I haven't seen them. But we say we love each other. But I'm thinking if you probably looked at how much we communicated. Maybe that's why we say we love each other. huh?
Yeah, yeah,
We
exactly.
don't have to.
Oh, well, good to see you.
Good to see you, Karen.
Bye,
All right, see you
Karen.
later. Have a good night.
Karen.
Well, I'm glad. That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I was really worried about Facebook actually and that whole thing. So back to the rec center coordinator.
So I have kind of a comment. So back when we were at CYSC, we really wanted to just kind of give up soccer and have the rec center do it, but it has to be like all the whoever's in charge wanting to let that go. Like we can't just say, oh, Tessa's gonna be in charge, and she has to come talk to us, convince us. It has to be something that like they have to present it to us, because
I don't know if
It's
that
somebody
was
that
how
we
we
trust.
wanted to do it though. I was thinking that we were gonna host whoever,
Facilitate.
yeah,
things.
facilitate and host who wanted
Yeah, they-
to.
Yeah, not take over the
Okay.
program. at
No, it's
all.
not, it's not,
So-
yeah, that's not the idea. The idea is to be a hub for people to make
Just
contact
for contacting.
for all the,
Sign-ups,
signups. Everything should be done through that. The insurance is all covered through the rec department. But I understand that, I don't know which group is which, but there's some groups that don't use our insurance and there's others that do. But, for all the youth sports, the rec department can cover everything, correct?
For insurance signups, coordination of fields, yes.
Yeah, and so, I mean, to me, that's how we foresee that should be doing. And it's gonna take coordination between all the leaders of all the individual sports clubs and with Tessa on that. So,
So I do
Wait,
think,
but-
go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I do think if we're gonna say we're gonna do signups, we need to clarify what we mean by that. Are we just taking the paper form? And or are we taking the payment with that? Are we receiving it into our system? How are we doing that? Because that's gonna be one of the biggest questions that will come up. Because people, when they sign up, they're gonna want
pay
to
for
know
those
how they
fees and-
pay.
Yeah,
Well, and I'm not
And-
gonna lie, to me, that's something that I feel like our rec coordinator, whether it's Tessa or whether Tessa decides to do something else and we replace her. Scott replaces her. But I feel like that's something our rec coordinator should put together. They should be approaching the board and saying, this is what I foresee for Boardman. I don't know that that's a board decision that we have to sit here and spend our hours. I think that's their job to do that.
Well, I
That's
think
my opinion.
when it comes to the money, I think the board does need to say, or
Right.
how we're gonna do that, because if we are receiving the money in, then we need to decide, okay, are we then going to turn around and issue that money back to the organization, or are we holding
And
that and then
that's-
we're ordering their supplies for them?
That's where I was.
That's
getting
where
at.
the money comes, that decision comes in, and with it being a money thing,
Yeah, and I didn't think that we wanted to take on that
No.
much responsibility. I thought we were just supposed to be a hub.
I
I
think,
kind of looked at it, how we're doing, how we were doing it for track.
but
We're
so we
taking the money
collect.
in, but they buy all the stuff that goes with it, and we reimburse them through that. They bring us receipts, reimburse them. That's how it was set up originally. I haven't heard from track in a while, so I don't know.
Because
that,
they
so-
didn't do anything this year.
Yeah, okay.
None of the neighboring towns did anything. That's why they didn't get a hold of us. We do still have money sitting that we have held on to for them. So,
John, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I just think in terms of youth wise, I definitely think that one place to go and sign up your kid for something is way easier than I think about as a parent here. And then sometimes my kid will remember to bring whatever form that
Mhm.
somebody hands out. And I think
Right.
Facebook, honestly, when you're trying to sign up a kid, is the worst possible place to put it on there, because
Yeah.
if you don't access
Yeah.
directly to like the Boardman, whatever page or whatever you don't see, you may not see it on there. So
Correct.
I don't really think it's a great avenue for people and get youth involved. And one thing I think about as a former coach is really thinking about, we need to get more youth in this in this town involved in something, right? Being positive, whatever that is. And so if we can make it easier for families, make it more accessible, where we have one location, I think it's something we need to move to. I would highly think that, but in terms of what you're saying, in terms of like, does the rec like order all that stuff? Probably not. In terms of just taking the insurance information, getting the information and getting the payment,
Mhm.
that makes sense. And then having some collective boards be able to make some decisions for themselves and being
Correct.
reimbursed, that makes sense.
Correct.
But I do agree with you also that for this, like, this person should come up with an idea of
Yeah.
how are we gonna do this and how are we gonna present this
Yeah,
in a possible way. How can we have a meeting now to bring those people in to then have that conversation? This is the goal.
correct,
Because we can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but it's
correct,
really gonna be, those people are gonna have a meeting with who's gonna be running
correct.
this.
And we're paying for an employee to do this job. So the fact that we would even have to sit here and talk about it is, I feel like our person should be out there, promoting and doing what Josh left off on, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Because Josh had sent out, he talked to,
he did surveys.
yeah, he sent out the surveys.
Yeah.
And he didn't get them all back. There were just a few that didn't. There's, what did we say, 3, I want to say? And then when he got those back, Josh and I went through them. I'm just trying to think back. This has been a long time.
look at your
Look
notes.
at, yeah, they're
I
right
say,
there.
look at your notes. It's,
Shelby was nice
more
enough
to
to
it.
refresh our
Yeah.
memory.
What's that?
Is there
What?
more? I mean, I never saw,
No, he never turned in the surveys.
No.
oh, we never
So he
did.
just gave us a recap of it and said
Ah.
that he would.
They're
So
really
this
nice,
was the
yeah.
recap that we got.
So, okay, yeah, oh, there it is, 11 surveys of useful.
Yeah.
Okay, so who those 11 went to, that I don't know. Okay, he kept all that information. But if we know we got 11 sports groups, entities in our town, we're gonna find those all out again. And it wouldn't be hard to get them, but Tessa's got the one that's gotta do this.
Okay.
Okay?
Is
So-
she staying on? Do we know if she's staying on?
She,
I guess there's a big question right there. Like, are we gonna be replacing her or,
she has not said she's
Okay.
leaving.
okay. Then.
Is she
then-
working right now or is she not?
I just talked to her a little while ago when we were outside, so she was there. I
Okay.
don't know if she's still there. at the
You just
moment.
meant in general, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, she's working.
Okay.
Okay,
I thought you meant
So-
today, like right now.
so now that summer rec's over, George is saying that he would like to see, we probably all like to see some form of progressive movement.
Okay.
into this discussion.
Because she's gonna have to have a meeting with all these heads, obviously. I mean, she's gonna keep those heads in charge of their programs.
Right.
But we want to get that communication going so we can start doing these exact things that it came up, the central place for information, providing the insurance and the coordination of facilities,
Storage.
okay?
Yeah, storage.
I think some of the, be honest with you, also, some of the things are just general like regulations, like some programs have really good, like, here's some parent rules, here's player
Mhm.
rules.
Yeah.
Like bring some of that collectively and go, this is youth sports and Boardman and how we function. I think it's really good. I just got a youth sports thing for soccer, and it was really awesome. I was like, whoa, this is really great to have. Really descriptive of like what the expectation of a parent is, what the expectation of an athlete is.
Nice.
I thought it was really nice as a parent, went, whoa,
Nice.
great.
No, that is nice. Yeah.
But
And
those are
and that's the thing, the heads of all those departments, I mean, you would be one, Little League, I don't know is it Tori?
Yeah, I'm the VP.
You're the VP, okay, so, we just gotta get those people all together with Tessa and let her do her thing and start working this. And definitely, if they're feeding off each other and getting ideas to make our youth program, our youth sports rolling, we're gonna get back into things. And I'm not saying we're trying to develop our youth sports into pro athletes. That's not what we necessarily are after. We're after a lot of kids getting involved and enjoying outdoor sports and indoor sports. So,
And not having to struggle, like he said,
yeah,
like people shouldn't have to struggle or not know about signing up. for
exactly. And
something.
I mean, that's why you have a rec department.
Right,
That's,
right.
the rec department is
Word
in
of
charge of
mouth,
recreation.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you're new in this town, it's
It's
hard
tough,
to figure out
yeah.
where do we go?
Yeah,
And most people would probably go to the rec to
exactly.
try to figure it out, and it'd be nice to have that
because
information.
that's basically what other towns do.
Yep.
They have this.
Yeah.
They have
So
everything.
Tessa, just give her the direction that
I will.
she, and I know her, she will jump on this. She'll make it good.
And even the ones that we don't have in our hub, the ones that we're servicing, it'd be interesting to have a link to clubs, like the pay clubs, you know what I mean? If they really felt like they wanted to play club volleyball club, or, not club, but yeah, I guess it is club.
Travel teams. and
Travel.
stuff
Yeah, the
like that.
travel teams, they could not necessarily have info on them, but have a hyperlink to it.
The
you know what I mean? A contact
Sure,
person, yeah,
I mean, because that's what yours is.
Yeah,
It'd be more like that.
yeah.
So, but it's still,
Something that-
everyone should be invited that has a sports team that
Right,
should be tying in with the rec center.
right.
That's what we gotta get organized. And tell Tessa, I am more than willing to help on this,
Okay.
and I'll help her too.
whatever she needs.
Yeah.
Any other comments on that?
No,
No.
39.
no, I'm so confused.
Are you saying- what do you mean?
I just gotta talk to them, because some people I've already
Oh,
talked to
yeah,
that aren't very interested.
We won't take it.
But I think part of the reason they're not interested is because they don't know what is.
What's available to help?
So what I
And
did,
some people may need, youth track may lean harder on us than Little League. I doubt we're gonna get much outside of handing out sign up information.
Right.
They're gonna run with it.
And that's
Well,
okay too.
I don't,
I can speak,
Yeah.
I can speak for Little League, they'll 100% do all the signups and everything and pay everything. That's the biggest hassle of Little League. It's not organizing teams or anything like that, it's the hassle of collecting the money.
Mhm.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
Like with any youth sport, that's probably, it's like,
Well, I'm assuming the
So-
groups would organize the teams and organize the
Yeah.
coaches, right?
Right.
Right.
the only thing I would say about that is that we need to come up with some kind of a reimbursement.
Yeah, how are we?
It'd be
keeping
real
those-
easy for me, if I was coaching the Little League team, walk in with a receipt. Does it need to go through the board, their local entity to get approval before it comes to us, before we reimburse? Because it could very easily be manipulated if there's not some kind of structure within it.
What I mean is like I think what I hear you're saying, isn't saying that you think that anybody could come in and get reimbursed. I would imagine that that would be the conversation with all those head parties of like, what should be that, as if we use Tess as the example here for this job, right? She would have to figure out what does it take to get reimbursed? What is it, all these things, so. Might take care of that problem.
When we cover insurance, Wheatland's gonna wanna know a contact person, all bunch of information, so there's already gonna be a contact person then when they get the insurance roll, and it should probably be similar to that, or maybe even the same person that has that ability to do so. And most of the clubs, like I think we did flag football and track, the same contact person for insurance was also the one that was dealing with reimbursement with receipts.
Who keeps track of the in and out of the money? Who's,
Lynn was keeping track of it. All I've got literally is a tape about that big that says, this is how much money is left, this is what we spent out, so it's like literally a calculator tape. It is not it is not,
so do we don't
In our
have a separate line item for?
no,
so
there
that
is
would
not
need
a
to be
step, we would
created.
have to create a
Yeah.
individual line item, like a liability account.
Yeah,
Showing that money is there.
absolutely, yeah.
for each
I'm
of
just
those.
surprised we don't have that already.
No,
Because that, I
Because we
mean,
don't.
Yeah,
And separate for each group.
well,
Yeah,
we have money though.
yeah,
I'm
yes,
getting
and
at.
I literally have a calculator tape. I had to dig
Is
through
that for
files
track?
to find it, yes.
yeah, that's for track.
The
Right.
other
Yep.
thing I would add is that there needs to be some discussions with the school district. And we need to think about scheduling, how we're gonna schedule, who has priority at what time of the year. Because that's part of the problem is that
For the gym.
we have so many different entities and nobody has, there used to be, we did football in the fall, you did basketball in the winter, now it's all year long. Traditional, and spring is baseball and softball gonna take priority over facilities over soccer. That needs to all be hashed out. And then once it's hashed out between the school district, the rec, then, okay,
Which
this person is in charge of facilities.
I was
And-
thinking that one of Josh's surveys went out to somebody in the school district, I thought. Didn't it?
No, I don't remember anything coming back from the school district. I
Was
know
it
he
a
talked-
principal?
I know he had talked to the principal, like
Okay.
at the high
Maybe
school,
that was
Okay.
Dr. David. Now I do the verbal one that says that,
Mhm.
yeah. But, that's a good question. I
Yeah.
I never saw anything that said that it was a written form from the school district.
There again, though, all things that we categorize as being in the job description of what our rec coordinator should be coordinating. Yeah,
It worked out. I worked with school districts before and it's typical, and it would be with us too, if we had our own, I don't know, adult league or something in the fields, that your programs come first with your facilities. I mean, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
So it would be just scheduling out when you have breaks and when fields are open, no matter who you are, and what groups are grandfathered in out here on the some of the fields that we take care of. And are there any contracts with adult sports? I don't know any of this. Does anybody know any of this?
I'm
I mean, we
starting,
have to look into that.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
starting a
there's-
women's league, so
That'd be good.
So
Alright.
where do you do that at?
I'm just gonna do it at the freeway field, at the soccer field. Soccer, football field.
We need more soccer fields, don't we?
mhm.
Well, I mean, there's a potato, we could use them, the one at Sam Boardman. They've got 2 goalposts there. I mean, those could be used if the school allows it, I guess. And I know we did indoor, I mean, we were outside and the kids would go and play outside, on their own. But I think some of those kids, somebody called the police and they were like, oh, you need insurance.
Oh,
The kids
yeah.
were just kicking around.
Yeah, I remember that. That was.
No, there was a coach there. I-
The dad, there was a dad.
Yeah, and he was coaching.
Well, I don't
Okay.
know who's there right now, but I'll be honest with you, there's somebody there every night has like 30 kids out there coaching.
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, and he's, yeah,
Have they
when
come
when they're
talk to
coaching,
anybody
that's
for about a
where you get
facility
into
use?
trouble. Yeah.
No.
Probably not.
Yeah,
But we've never, as we've never talked about outside facility use. We've never asked permission. It's a public school, so we say, okay, it's public, so we should be able to play outside.
Well,
The
no,
only
it's not
problem with
facility, you
that
gotta be careful.
is if you are charging, I think
Mhm.
you end up being liable.
Oh, even if you're not charging, the school is
Yeah.
still is liable.
Well,
For
but
you
the
to
people,
someone
the
gets hurt.
people
Yeah.
promoting it, if you don't have some kind of insurance,
So I think that's CYSE's kids, I believe. Those are Carlos's kids, and I think they are part of CYSE.
I-
Either way, those are the things that I think that the park
That's what
person can
that,
also.
yep, that's what we got.
Yes, because
Work to
there's,
do.
Sounds good.
All right, reminder of complaint, I'm sorry, were we done with the other topics? Are we good? Everybody okay to move on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Reminder of complaint policy chain of command. I put that in there because I had Shelby add it because of the fact that, you know, Karen, because she's the city manager, the city would always get complaints. If they couldn't get a hold of Ted or they can't get a hold of Shelby, they automatically will just call the city of Boardman to complain. Because they think that the city of Boardman has control over the park. And then Karen, of course, would be the first person to hear about it because, you know, Tony would tell her. So I started getting complaints, naturally, of course, from Tony. When people, she said they get complaints all the time to the city if they can't get a hold of the park. The phones were down, obviously. And so I guess I just wanted to make it clear to the board that if you as a board member get a complaint from the public, we do have a chain of command in place already, and they are supposed to go to Ted, or not Ted, Scott for the rec center. They're supposed to go to Ted for the park. Employees have their, obviously their management above them. It goes, you know, to, I would imagine the person above them, and then to Scott, and then to Ted if they don't get any response. And there's a certain amount of days that if you don't get a response, then you can go to the next person up. Eventually it hits us, but we're not supposed to be the enforcers. We're not supposed to be the ones that are called over complaints. Don't feel like you have to go put the hammer on somebody just because we get it. We can refer it on to them, which is what I did. And the only thing I was gonna say is that I truly do want, on the opposite side of that scale, if something happens down here, for instance, like what happened to one of our employees, you know, I realized that the cops weren't necessarily called down here for that incident. But if the cops were called down here for some sort of a beating, drowning, something like that, I would want to know as a board member that that took place, because our town is so small. It's going to get out there on public media. We're going to be asked about it. We need to at least not have that dumb look on our face that like, oh, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
the good news is wear a mask now, so nobody will see you.
Right, yeah. So I mean, just as a little FYI, maybe you could, you know, give us a call, or, you know, I'm not big on the whole email thing now that I've been to that seminar. So I don't know that I want emails out there running around, because whatever you say then is on record. But you could maybe just give us a call or have Shelby call us and say, hey, this happened today, in case you hear about it, kind of a thing. Just to give us a heads up, but it'd have to be something noteworthy, you know, usually something bad.
May end up in the paper.
Yeah, something that may end up in the paper, or a complaint, or a, you know, something bad. I would want to probably know about that as a board member. But other than that, I just want to let you guys know that if you get complaints from the public, you know, pass it on to the people who are getting paid to do the job to take those complaints. Don't feel like you have to face that by yourself. So that's all I want to say on that.
so like if they complain to us, we tell either Ted or Scott.
I would refer them first,
Refer them,
Yeah, you
okay.
do.
to go to Ted or Scott.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
And
that's
then,
what I
but tell them,
do.
hey, thanks for letting me know. Make sure you talk to them. I will pass it on as well. but let them do it.
And you
It's their
can- You
responsibility.
could simply tell them that we have a chain of command in place and this is the reason why. It's so that they can do their job effectively and yeah, I mean, it's stated exactly the way you did. Yeah, that I want you to go to him too, and then I'll talk to him as well and hopefully it all works its way out. So anyway, yeah, I didn't want you guys feeling like you had to take those on your own. And we shouldn't be
Okay,
taking
yeah.
them on our own. It's supposed to be a board.
Yeah, because I've had a lot.
Full
and I'm like,
knowledge. Yeah,
I'm like, talk to that person first, then the next person, if nothing gets solved.
right,
So, yeah.
And I'd
Yeah.
recommend also giving them a heads up, just so
absolutely.
then they're not blindsided.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, and I didn't do that because it was during Fantastic Kids. So. So
Yeah.
I did get complaints about Fantastic Kids.
Hmm.
And some of the girls being, I don't know how sensitive the kids are now these days, but I don't know, some of the kids just weren't having fun and they were just not a good time for them. So I don't know how many quit, I don't know how many left the program, but I did get a lot of complaints from it.
And that's one of those
I'd
things
like to
where,
know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and me
that's-
as a parent too, I mean, the kids did nothing, but just kicking the ball or tag, whatever, my kids were bored, my kids were really bored. But some of the girls, and they wouldn't tell me who it was, but they were being rude to the kids, speaking rudely to the kids, so a lot of the kids left. And one of the teachers actually told me that from where's that? The Neil Learning Center in the area.
Yeah, we need to know that, because
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
always know
Yeah.
that, you know, the kids don't.
Yeah,
complain
I
to
just
us
didn't
at
know
all.
when to bring that up.
Yeah, anytime, just
Yeah.
call us.
We're usually the last ones to find things.
You have my number
Yeah.
on speed dial, I know that. You
Yeah,
can just call me. And, you know, it may be time to revamp the whole program too. I mean, it's been in place for many, many years.
yeah, and I remember we used to do crafts and we used to do all kinds of stuff, and this year, I mean, my kids never brought home anything. What'd you do, Xander? Nothing, same thing.
Yeah,
They were bored,
yeah.
and it
it's-
was, yeah.
It's kind of hard too, though, you know, when you have 200 and something kids that, you know, to get that many crafts.
I think towards the end, there wasn't that many though. I
But
feel
yeah, there
like-
wasn't.
Yeah.
Originally, but then it really, really dropped off.
Yeah,
So, and it might be time to relook at that program. You
Yeah.
know, and do something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, just a quick phone call to them. Let them know and then, you know, bring it up at the next board meeting, but yeah, don't feel like you have to.
I
hold on to
know,
Any of that.
yeah, because I know there was an accident, one of the kids dropped one of the counselors, and she already has a bad knee. I think she had surgery on it not too long ago, and she had to go home. And Tessa was told, and from what I heard, that Tessa didn't care. She's like, I don't care, she should be watching out, and the kid came from behind her. So, and I told the girl, I was like, okay, you know what, go talk to Tessa about it first, or whoever was there that saw it, and then go to talk to Scott about it.
Mhm.
I mean, because there's nothing I can. do.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
the right thing to do though.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
no one talked to me about it.
Yeah,
yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
nothing gets resolved. I mean,
Yeah,
you can call us. I mean, yeah, because we need to know this stuff. And a lot of times the bosses never know. You know, Scott and I are probably in the dark about half the stuff that goes on
yeah,
because no one tells us stuff. And we can't be everywhere at once.
well, let's
Mhm.
face it, the kids that they hire to do the summer rec program, they're teenagers and they're there because they're getting paid. They're not all sitting there going, man, I'm gonna teach kids someday. This is gonna be great. You know, some of them are there just to get their money and their pay, and they don't necessarily know how to be great counselors or great employees to get those kids all worked up and in the movement. And that's why it's really important to tell him so that he can then go say, hey, by the way, your kids are bored to death. Why don't you vamp it up a little.
Yeah.
Or, you know, he can go suggest something to have a better attitude, he can fix things, so,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely let him know, because then otherwise he's taking the brunt of it and he didn't even know about it.
Yeah,
Part of
So,
the
yeah.
issue is when we expanded to all those kids, we needed to have more
Training.
heartbeats
I think you
to
need
monitor them, more counselors.
more adults.
So the
Adult,
more
yeah.
counselors you need, the lower your overall quality is
Yeah.
gonna be. I mean, I would like to say that we have 50 great counselor candidates, but I remember like an outdoor school, you get 10 or 12 good ones, and the
Right.
last two are not so good.
Right.
So if you doubled your population going to outdoor school, you gotta take another 10 or 12. You're
Right.
probably gonna get most of them that aren't very good.
Well, yeah, you look at this year, we had a double because of the
Yeah.
signups. We were scrambling, just trying to get somebody
I know.
to be there. If not necessarily, some of them not necessarily would have been chosen. in
right,
other ways.
exactly,
Right.
Mhm.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah, and they are kids themselves, they don't always know how to do that. Okay, so on to new business. Recap of the SDAO training. That was very, very interesting, George.
yeah.
Have you
it
been to
was.
one, by the way?
I'm not yet.
It was absolutely fantastic. I was really glad I went to it. First one I've been to since I've even been on the board, so it was very, very interesting. I can't wait for you guys to actually do it and to sign up and go through the course. I really feel after I went through it, somewhere along the line, we really should have and should pay probably an attorney to be on retainer. Like, we can usually fork out
Mhm.
$5,000 to have one attorney always be there, so that if we ever have, you know, if we had a death we had to try to explain, or if we had a claim, that we could go to that, although I know you've always leaned highly on the.
We
on
already
the-
have that with SDAO.
We don't need a personal one though.
You
Well-
could, if you
'Cause
needed
they're
one,
only
you could
gonna
go
give
there,
us so
but
much.
we pay them money, so they're
Who
kind
can't
of
do
our
that?
go-to guy, or,
But they won't
person.
represent us. They only give us advice,
Mhm.
but they
right?
would
Yeah.
say, you need to go get a, you know,
Right,
here-
right.
and they would tell you, this is the
Right.
best person for this situation.
Yeah,
I can tell you that we had a great attorney in the Dalles, and he was pro bono at the meetings. He came to every meeting. The reason he did that is to make sure something wasn't said wrong
Yeah.
or handled wrong that could go into litigation.
correct,
Right.
yeah,
So he did that pro bono. If he had to go and fight for a lawsuit or whether, then that was extra, of course.
Right.
But all the other stuff was, you know, he would answer questions, look up law for us, all
Right.
that kind of stuff pro bono. So
yeah,
there are attorneys that will do that.
yeah,
You gotta find them.
yeah, right. Just food for thought. I'm not saying we have to go do it right now. I'm just saying, food for thought. It would be nice to have people to keep us in line. There apparently is an ORS statute, I have not looked it up yet, that gives us all of our authority on what we can act on and what we can't. Very interesting, I thought. Can't just randomly spit stuff out. Oh, I know, hold on. 15 and 16 and 30. There was. Which I was gonna ask you about this. So remember how he was talking about how people can get in fights at meetings? Not that that's gonna happen here. I'm just saying it could.
Yep.
People were getting in fights and that they would have to adjourn, like they could adjourn the meeting.
And-
So,
Take it outside.
yeah, but
Mhm.
I mean, they could literally put a stop to the meeting and
Yes,
because two of your board members are going at it. So can we just adjourn the meeting, or you don't necessarily have to have a vote, would you, to vote?
no,
Because
so
those
when
two
you,
are fighting.
when you adjourn, you don't even have to have a vote, you just have
Okay.
to have a motion to
Yeah.
adjourn. So it's just,
So at least
motion
two
to
of us
adjourn
would
and
have to
then-
not be fighting to
yes,
get it over with.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Just curious,
So do we have to fight right now to adjourn?
no.
right? It was very interesting.
The voting that happened when
Oh,
we
yeah, yeah.
elected.
So when we did
Appointments.
the appointment of David and Lynn to, in the vacant positions until the election, we secretly voted apparently, bypassing,
By doing them on sticky.
yeah,
notes.
writing it down and.
Doing a tally.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Can't do
can't
that.
do that. They should have
The
been,
public.
we could write it down, but it should have had our name on it. And they would have had to have read Krista voted for
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
It would have had to have been public who we actually voted for.
Oh, well, I can tell you who I voted for. if you
Well,
need to
yeah.
know.
I know, it's in the past now. I'm just saying in the future, we apparently cannot do that.
Mhm.
We cannot, which I did not know, when we go to an executive session, Scott's wage, everything about his job is still open. Like we can discuss, particulars about job description.
Mhm.
We
Everything
cannot
but
discuss
payment.
wage though in executive session. Has to be
Public.
public.
Public, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I did not know that either. I thought that was something we could discuss privately, and apparently it's not. Because it has to do with public money. Anything else, you guys? I'm still checking my notes.
Let me see.
I left my ticket at
What
home.
do you, I know, yeah.
Oh, Shelby was going to check on our budget thing, because she was thinking maybe we possibly might have an extra step in there that we don't need.
Yeah, the budget
Um,
process. When they were talking about it, he had said that with the budget committee, when they met, that could be also a hearing. And we've always done it as the budget committee meets, talks, does it, and then we do a hearing and then a second hearing, and then we adopt after the second hearing has been closed. And so I've got to do some looking into that, because they were saying that that's one extra step that we didn't have to do.
It's not all bad for transparency. I guess my biggest takeaway, because I asked Shelby several times during the day, was
Yes.
do we have an adopted policy for this? And her reply almost everything, and I think I said 3 or 4 texts, was no.
No,
I really think, and I've been harping on this since I got on, we've got to have an adopted policy on everything. I mean, we fly, and you're talking about needing a lawyer on retainer, ain't nobody gonna, want to work for us when we don't have a policy that we've adopted and said, this is how we operate.
This
Because
is who we are.
a crappy lawyer would tear us apart. Because we don't have any, somebody told me, oh, we're working off the city and the old park one that was adopted in 1995. Okay, I was still in college, and that's how long ago that was. And that's how a lawyer is just gonna chew us up. We can say, well, this is people, well, where does it say in a minute that you adopted this as your policy? How come Boardman Parks and Rec is not on this piece of paper you're using as your framework? So,
But I
and
thought. we
it's gonna
had
take a lot of
policy.
work.
We
but-
have a employee handbook
and
that
that's it.
covers like our personnel policies. But when it comes to talking about how we do our budget, all of the other main policies of the park district, we don't. I mean, we are
we'll
operating.
get there.
We
We
will.
will.
We can do
It'll
that this
it'll
summer.
take a while.
We
What?
could do that this winter. We can-
Yes, that was
Mhm.
what we had asked to be put off till we got slower, because
Yeah.
the 3 of us had not had time to look at anything right now.
That might
Um,
be worth a call to the SBAO, and if they got somebody that could come, that well versed in that, that could come help put it together so we can look at it and adopt it.
Well, they probably have a sample.
The
Well,
only-
I'm talking
they-
about maybe they have somebody that we can hire to come
Yeah.
help.
They don't have a sample book like what they do for the personnel. What they have is a draft policy that talks about what your policy should say. But it doesn't tell you, okay, well, you can just take this and change out what's pertinent to you and adopt it. It just says, oh, your policy should have something in there that talks about this.
Yeah, they have generic that covers generically, but if you look at irrigation district, parks district, fire districts, there is a big difference between those different agencies and what the policies would say.
Mhm.
But again, it might be worth calling them and see if there's somebody that can come
In
help
person.
put all that
Yeah,
stuff
I
down
agree.
for a part.
Yeah.
At least give us something to work with. Right now, we don't have nothing.
Right.
I was gonna ask, they mentioned that any of our advisory groups, that their meetings would have to be publicized. And that, I was curious if our rec coordinator coordinates a meeting with all of the heads of those sports groups, if that's considered a
Public meeting.
an advisory
not.
group. It's not?
I feel
No.
like.
Well,
'cause
that's under
that's-
employment.
Yeah.
It's what?
It'd be under the employment part.
It's an employee, it's no
Yeah.
voting power, no authority making decisions like that.
Okay,
So
And
if
there's
if
no
there was
elect-
more than two board members out there, then yes, of course.
so
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
guys
we're
You
gonna
have to
talk about
coordinate
it.
to make sure that you're not
I'm
all
sorry.
three
I'm not
there.
well, that was my next,
So-
that was my next topic, was because they did discuss that if, George and Norma and David, or, you were at a meeting, or anywhere, actually, even at lunch, and or at a freaking football game, and you start discussing park business,
You
that
just made
that
a public
is-
you
meeting.
just
Yeah.
made a
Yeah,
public
it's the
meeting.
same thing as our emails together. That's why you can't,
Yeah.
you just can't do that.
Yeah, and then everything, obviously, that anybody overhears, then that becomes an issue, so, which is interesting, yeah.
And I remember another one was,
Although they did say, sorry to interrupt you, they did say, that if, I don't know who
oh,
that
if you're
was.
fishing.
Well,
or
he
if you're
said
just
that
hanging
if say, for instance, somebody was bashing the park and you got on to defend the park on Facebook. I'm just
Social
saying,
media,
if
yeah.
Facebook,
Never happened.
social media outbreak, everybody's pissed off at the park and they're all bashing us, and you get on to defend us, or Norma gets on to defend us.
Right.
That you doing that doesn't, it doesn't violate anything, because that is an open,
Discussion.
public space that people in the public can actually get on, so it's not technically a meeting that you're having, even though
Right.
three of you might be defending the park. Facebook is a public site, so it's not.
It's a very gray area.
It's a
right
gray
now.
area, but it's possible to defend, apparently.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I will never do that.
I
Just
would-
let you know. I
Oh,
don't do
you
it for the
can't win.
school.
You can't win.
Don't do it for police department.
I did find it
I get
interesting
ticked
that
off.
as the board, at least I wrote it down this way, that the board is personally liable if Shelby doesn't publish our meetings correctly, and
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
that was
yes,
super scary.
yes.
Yeah, the fine's not cheap either.
No, but I mean, we're relying on her to do. to do
I
her
will
job.
always do it right, I
Yeah,
promise.
no, I just meant that, I mean, I told you this afterwards,
Yeah.
right? That, we do rely on her to do it. I don't ever check. I never
Yeah.
check to see if she publishes it. Do you check? Does anybody here
I
check?
walked in, I see it on the sign
Yeah,
there.
I did today, right? But yeah, I don't ever go on to make sure Shelby's doing her job, but apparently if she doesn't, we all get fined individually for that.
It just has to be posted in 3 places,
Fabulous.
so
And you post it here,
rec center and the post office.
that's where. I would
Most
do
of the
it.
time I also get it on Facebook and our website too, as extra, so.
Keep up the good work, please.
I don't know. I don't gotta get anybody in trouble. You can lose my job.
Okay, let me just put one last note here, and then we can move on from that nasty subject. Prevention of disclosures. Yeah, he just said it, emails, of course, but then, I don't know if, I would hope that our personal emails and our personal cell phones are not available to the public unless we put them on our,
Correct.
Form,
I do
correct?
not publicize that at
Okay.
all.
all right. So I just want to tell you guys, my cell phone is not available to people. Please don't give it out. It's not something that goes out unless I give it out. So just
Dang it, I
let
have
you
to go to all
know.
these public
You were
My
restrooms.
phone
gonna
number
put
is
me on
not
the
there.
health
Oh,
and
yeah.
honors
I got you
call
most
list,
of the
weren't you?
restrooms.
Yeah, I know it.
8675309.
So that is a question. As far as emails go, we do have the ability to set you guys up with park district emails, if you would like that, so that you're not getting complaint emails to your personal emails.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I'm
so I
good.
just need to know if that's something that you guys want to have the
Now, I
availability of,
believe-
because then we can post those on our website if people want to get. that
Well,
to
and they
view.
can get our information off of our election form.
Yep.
if
They
want
can
to.
too,
Yeah,
yeah.
so whatever we put there is public,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just didn't want our board giving out each of our contact info when that's something that's supposed to be
On the
done.
whole email deal, I believe, now I could be wrong. That instead of sending a group email, we
Mhm.
just need to send individuals and then we're okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
I mean, most emails we get, just instead of having the group, just send them individually. and-
So, we will be getting obviously a booklet on our audit. We'll, what is it, October that we normally get that?
it's
Ted?
end of
Is that right?
September, beginning of October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in October, we should have our audit booklet
Mhm.
to go over, but
Right.
as a recap, like what kind of things did he tell you?
As a recap, I mean, it went normal, like it normally does. We did have a few things that will come up that are something that comes up every year. One of them was the fact that they do our audit as well as do our financial statements. They say that with that, they have a hard time with considering themselves independent because they do give us advice. Eventually, we will need to look at somebody who does our financial statements and the audit separately, or we need to start issuing the financial statements ourselves and then have somebody do the audit. So that is something that he did recommend. He said we're not necessarily there yet, but it's coming because the state is getting stricter on how they look at whether an auditor that is doing that is an independent. So.
I
that's
say
just-
we just keep at it until he tells us that he can't do it anymore.
So,
So,
yeah, I don't know how long down the road that'll be, but
Yeah.
I mean, he's like very adamant about making us aware of that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
The other one was, that will be mentioned as a finding, is the fact that we've got some capital expenditures that we do every year that we don't necessarily get the quotes on. We have to have at least 3 quotes if the item is under $100,000. If we don't do that, we have to provide some kind of a write-up memo type thing saying why we didn't and why we went with this particular item.
I thought it was over 50.
It's over 100.
Yeah. Sorry,
So-
I thought you said under just a second ago.
Yeah, if it's over 100, it has to be bid out. If it's
Right.
under 100, you have to have 3 quotes.
Right.
We don't necessarily always get 3 quotes for everything. We bought a mower last year that Ted wanted that specific mower and we didn't get 3 quotes on it. Well,
Was it
we-
over 50?
No, so even if it's over 5,000, it's considered a capital expenditure. And you're supposed to get quotes on all of that, even for a personal service.
Which has now been turned to 10.
But it's, yes.
It was still in
Yeah.
that category where he had
Correct.
to get a quote.
Yes. So, and almost everything we buy is gonna be over that $10,000 mark. So we would
We got
still
a
need to
habit of
get
doing
3
it. Even our
quotes.
hot water tanks were over that, I think, right?
Yes, the hot water
Yeah.
tanks.
They were 16.
Yeah.
Doesn't the law change to 10,000 down 22?
Yeah.
It does,
In
yes.
Yes,
January.
in 22, yeah. So, but that'll be something that will come up. It's happened every year for the last at least 5 years. That's been one of the things. The other thing, there was 2 samples they pulled for credit card statements where we didn't have a receipt. One was, they didn't give Ted a receipt for when they came and worked on his house last winter when his heater went out. So we didn't have anything to show what that was for. I was able to explain it, but we didn't have that. The other one was Scott had accidentally grabbed his credit card when he went to dinner with his kids and ended up paying for that. He personally sent a personal check to the credit card company to pay for that. So the park district did not pay for it. But
It
again,
wasn't documented.
I had it documented, but they still wanted the receipt showing what it was that had been charged, even though the park didn't pay out that money to pay it off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that was the other thing that was gonna come up.
Huh.
So those were the main issues. The other things that he did mention was,
Even though you had an invoice for Ted's water heater, the work,
they didn't give us anything.
oh,
He-
well, how'd you pay it?
Ted used the credit card to pay for it. And they wouldn't give him a receipt. They did
Well-
not give him one.
Well, they're
It was
supposed to
Eclipse.
email it to me. I
There's a
signed
work
their,
order.
They send their iPad,
Yeah,
everything, and okay, this will send to your email. I never received that.
Yeah.
You know, that was, how much was it?
it was like $167. I mean, it was very minimal.
Okay,
So it
All right.
wasn't a very, it was very, very minimal.
our
So,
liability's low.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So,
all right.
the only other thing they did bring up was the accounts receivable between the park and the pool. The 242,000 that the pool owes the park for when the rec center started. We don't need to pay it all back at once, but he does recommend us start budgeting for that to pay that back and get that cleared up.
How are we gonna pay it back when we're in the negative?
I don't know, but he recommends that we
We'll budget for it. though.
look at,
Yeah, you go ahead and
Figuring out a
budget
way
for
to
it,
do
and we'll
that.
just not be able to pay
Yeah.
it, okay?
yeah, just trying to get that cleared up.
Well, I mean,
So,
yeah, we can budget,
right,
like, we'll just have to budget for it and then just not ever pay it. Right, okay,
but that was
okay,
the gist of it.
interesting,
It
If
was
there's
a,
anything
it
else
was
he
a
didn't
grant,
tell
not a
me.
loan, wasn't it?
right?
Is there a reason that the two are separated, the parks and the
It's
rec?
because of the type of funds. So the park here is considered a proprietary fund where it can operate strictly on its own. It's basically its own separate business. Whereas the rec center is, it's supposed to operate basically on property taxes is the way it is set up, even though we don't budget the property taxes to go over there. It's just the way it's supposed, that they've got them set up. So,
When I first came on, it was one fund. And I was going, that doesn't make any sense. And Lynn shot me down like, I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, she put it really strict to my face. And I was like, okay, I won't bring that up again. Not 6 months later, after the auditors came in, it became two separate entities.
Yeah.
And she explained why. And I was going, I didn't say a word.
Yeah, you wouldn't have won anyway.
No, I wouldn't have won either way.
yeah, no, I did ask them why, and that's exactly what they explained. So,
We could pull it back into one, once the GO
Once-
bond.
yes,
is
once
paid
the
for.
GO bond is paid for,
Yeah,
you
it
could.
could go back into
Yeah.
one then,
So,
Be a lot easier.
it would be, yeah, well, it wouldn't look so bad, right?
There's that, but I'm leaving that
Yes.
out.
Might not look so bad,
at that point, you could budget as one fund with
Yeah.
separate departments,
Yeah.
and it would be a lot easier. It would look a lot
That'd be
cleaner.
nice.
Mhm.
yeah,
But we still have a long time on that. GO
not
bond.
too bad,
20 years.
I know, but, you know,
To me, that's a long time.
he remembered when she was in high school, so it can't be
Yes,
that bad.
true.
Yeah,
We won't share any stories. I'm sworn
I'm
if
not
we did.
embarrassed.
Ted,
Yeah.
did you want to go over this, or I'm sorry, Shelby, were you okay, were you?
Yeah, no, we're good. That was,
Okay.
if there's anything else in that audit report, they did not notify me of it.
Yeah.
I will put that disclaimer out.
I think all that's pretty,
It's.
I mean,
pretty
it's not like we have
generic.
any major violations,
Mhm.
so that's good.
No,
Okay.
I actually
Okay.
got a good report. He said, for being your first year, you did a pretty good job. So felt pretty good with that.
Yeah, no, that's good, good job.
Um, Have you guys seen the parking lots in the pool at night?
I have not, is it nice?
You know, I have not seen them, but,
It's much brighter.
Good,
but I think it's a lot brighter.
We'll finish our tour up by going there.
yeah,
Afterwards.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I
Where
think
are we
we go
going?
next month,
Yeah.
we're gonna go, we'll be there next month, oh, but
It'll
not
be
at
dark
dark.
by the
Oh, we were
time-
just
Oh,
talking
it's
about
darker
driving
sooner.
over there
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah. Works.
Yeah, I'm gonna drive over tonight to see. so,
Yeah.
because I haven't seen it yet. Anyway, and then the Corps came for their inspection and they didn't have any findings at all, which is really good,
That is good.
except for there's there's a goal on a tee off area that are outside of the district's leased lands from the Corps that they said we have to move. One of the goals was also, they said was in the railroad right of way, which I'm not sure where that is.
Why do they care if it's off their property?
I don't know. Well, it is on their property.
Oh.
They're going to deed
Oh,
over to the Department of interior, the
Gotcha.
Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Gotcha.
But I don't see, yeah, I don't see why they really care about that, but they do. So we'll wind up having to move those at some point. So now, if you guys notice the off-ramp lawns, you know, they're looking better now because it's, you know, it's towards the end of the summer, humidity is higher, so they get greener. But you see, there's still dry areas, which will always be there. There's really nothing we can do about it because of the way the irrigation system is put in. So that's something that you're going to have to live with. You know, the highway department wants the city to turn off the water to that, to the off ramp, so we have no grass, no shrubs. That, you know, that would be okay as long as some good landscaping was put in. We would have enough water for a lot of drip tubing to plant some shrubs and trees and what have you. But I think that would be up to the city to decide, and somebody else would have to pay for, you know, all that landscaping, because it would be very expensive.
It's so desolate
Yeah,
driving anywhere.
yeah,
It would be nice to have that greenery be there still,
right.
the grass. I don't,
right. See, Pendleton has a really nice one, that one of the cows, and
Yeah.
cowboys. I think that's really cool.
yeah.
I think Pendleton probably paid for that themselves. So, now my fun fact, did you guys read that? Did you all get
All these numbers?
yeah, there's a lot there. Okay, these are, a couple months ago, I gave you all the stuff down here at the Marina Park. Now, this is the irrigation in all of our other parks. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of valves and sprinklers and what have you.
We have those valves GPS.
No,
I'm just telling you, I made a mistake 2 winters ago and left my testing cycle on. And I had 5 or 6 of my valves and I had no idea where they were.
yeah. that
And it
happened.
took me 3 days. This would take you years.
Well, fortunately, I know where they're all at, except for.
You do, but what happens if you peel over the month?
That's right. You know, Gino knows where some of them are, but nobody else does. You know, so they do need, they do need to be GPS for sure.
Is there a way we could buy a GPS or find somebody to
Right,
do it?
Yeah, Scott knows how to do that, so he
You
can,
get on it, mister.
Oh, okay.
That-
I gotta work with you to do it though.
yeah, so Scott did it in the valves, I think, with all the irrigation they have. So that would be a very good idea.
That's a lot of sprinklers, Ted.
It is, you know, altogether, there's over, between here and the city, there's over 3,000 sprinklers.
I think we take that for granted. We're
Yeah.
just like, hey,
Yeah,
go
there's-
fix that. But then, yeah, you have a lot to do.
Yeah, there is quite a few, so. Anyway, I don't know, is there something you mentioned to me that I forgot to put in here? If you can remember.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Scott, not Scott, Ted, I got 2 things that came up from the police department. Signs for times at the park.
Oh,
That has come up so they can, so the officers that are working the night shift can actually have a way to be able to kick people out.
right. We did have them for a long time. I think last year the sign kind of rotted away. The times we were open, which are 5 AM to 11 PM, which I think we should revisit that. So,
Revisit it as in you'd like to modify that time?
yeah, 5.
What would you like it to be?
Well, ideally for me it would be dawn to dusk, but in the winter time, that's like, you know, 8 to 5. or 8 to 4:30.
Well, that's what it says on the sign when you're going to marker 40,
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
from dawn to dusk.
Well,
It's
in the
very,
wintertime,
it's
there's,
extremely hard to
Yeah.
read
Yeah,
because
it's getting
it's
really
very
faded.
faded.
Yeah.
yeah, but in the
But-
wintertime, Market 40 is closed.
Yes.
It's locked. Here, it's 5 to 11. 5 to 10 would be okay in the summertime. And the off season, I think it should be, you know, maybe 5 to 9 or 8 even. Because it does get dark pretty early,
We should just order those and get those.
yeah.
That way, like George said, at least they can kick them out after that.
Right. No, and I agree with the police on this one. We were gonna make them, Cameron was supposed to make the sign, but he never made it back this year, so.
Should we put like a thing that goes down?
Like,
Just close them. Yeah, right here.
Alarm system.
yeah,
And then the other one was, I didn't get hold of you in time early enough for that graffiti, but it did get taken care of.
oh, good.
Yeah, there's no graffiti on that tree anymore.
How'd you get it on?
They just used the sprayer.
Well, and it didn't take the bark off?
They did.
Oh, it did.
Talk to me, what happened?
Well, the tree got graffiti down, I believe, was it down there?
Yeah, it's down the far end, right where
Yeah.
the little extension goes around to the baseball field. Someone tagged it up. It was, and it tied in with the people that
Yeah.
assaulted our player
Yeah,
or our worker. And that individual actually came into the police department to complain that there was graffiti all about her. The graffiti was up before the fight. I figured that was the motivation for the fight was because of the graffiti, but it wasn't. She didn't even find out about it till 2 weeks ago, so, but we did finally get it off after talking to Ted.
Yeah, I didn't want to take the bark off the tree, but the tree's in a, you know, in an area that's, you know, the trees aren't that great, I don't think.
Well, you'll take all those out if you expand out that way.
Yeah.
So,
So I guess that's all I have. I don't know, is there anything else you want me to write about? I mean, I don't want to put down all my little, you know, the little maintenance things. we
Play by
do.
play.
It's kind of minor. You know,
we want you to put your wish list down.
my wish list.
yeah, I would like that.
What do you want, what do you foresee in the
Oh,
future?
projects?
Yeah, for projects. I mean, you shared a bunch tonight. That's great.
Right.
But let's get those in writing. Get you keel over tomorrow.
Well, it's one piece that you can just
That's
continue
like
having them
talking
on your report, so it's not something you have to like remake, you can just continue having that on your report, so it's just, you'll add other information on there, and then that way we're revisiting and then going, yeah, okay, here's another thing we can, have a goal to.
Okay.
Yeah, let me briefly do this. I have a couple of typos I saw actually for the first time tonight, so I apologize for that. And I apologize for my first paragraph. I'm a little frustrated, so just people. It's just crazy. So it's just, we've been covering, I've gone in a few times at 5 because somebody all of a sudden say, hey, a doctor's note, I can't come in all week. That came to me at, well, I saw the text at 2 o'clock in the morning on the Sunday night, right? I woke up, saw my phone bleeping, so I looked at it and I got a text. So it's those type of things that just frustrates me. And then on top of that, which is not a report because it's happened today, is that I had a lady come in and I had Elizabeth up front to translate for me. But anyway, the gist of it was that Dean was doing private lessons for her child, 2 of her children. And one of her children was tested positive for COVID. So Dean came in that morning, I talked to him, I said, hey, we'll pay for it, I want you to go get tested. Pardon me?
Did you just say a lifeguard? I don't know. that we want
I'm
to-
sorry, I meant to say that.
Well, but
No,
HIPAA
thank you.
should be-
Normally that's in my head, I don't know why I'm doing that. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so I had the lifeguard go get tested positive.
Yeah,
So now we're putting together a list of who's worked directly with this person. I don't think it'll be a huge list, but there will be some staffing that I will probably have tested just to make sure. Which translates to more likely we're gonna be even shorter for a little while.
yeah.
So I just want to let you know that. Survey pool, I don't know, it stopped completely working. I rebuilt pumps, 2 of them, still not working, so I finally broke down and ordered a pump. The pump came in on Friday, was installed. It works too good. Now we have too much chlorine in the pool, so we are letting it calm down. That tends to happen because, you know, you wouldn't believe this or not, but water, kind of like muscle memory. It does this. It gets used to a certain thing, and then when you add something different to it, it goes bonkers. It always happens. It does. It sounds weird, but it happens. So we was up at a 10 on Saturday. Today it was down to a 6. I think we'll be good tomorrow. We have to be at least, well, 5 is the max. I like a 4.5 at the most. So anyway, I'm sure we'll be good tomorrow. And that's why I had to change 2-hour difference on Saturday, because we just didn't have enough to cover more than 8 hours on that day. But we did interview a couple people. They're shadowing now, so we're hoping we're gonna get them on soon for lifeguarding. And private lessons still going. Swim club ended Friday, although we're considering if there's people are interested, keep that going, along with the activities I wrote in here that I worked with Tessa about putting on some programs this summer. But we're gonna try to do that and add what we just talked about tonight and get that started now. And other than that, they had a good time at Silverwood, at least that's the report I got. A couple of kids were sick because I think they eaten too much candy or something, but other than that, they had two bus loads, so. I haven't heard any negatives, so, and I've been trying to listen, so I don't know, maybe someone else does, but I heard that they did well.
Yeah, they did.
Alright.
My kids
My
went,
kid
so.
and my kid enjoyed their time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's great.
Try to make that quick. Any questions?
So I think I had a question about remember at the meeting, at the training that we did? Since you're, I mean, when I saw that rec coordinator assistant position come up, I was really interested in that, but since I was voted into the board, I was like, there's no way I can get that job because I'm on the board. So are we willing to review our policies for that, or is that not something you guys want to do?
In my personal opinion, I just don't see how we could have an employee be on our park
Yeah.
board and have that not be a conflict of interest. So I would probably have to vote that down. Although you wouldn't have to resign from the park board unless you actually got hired. So it's not like
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and it's only part-time, right?
Oh, it's only
Yeah,
part-time?
so I,
Oh,
yeah,
Currently,
I thought,
yeah.
oh, right.
Yeah. So
I'm
I
sure he can
mean,
find other work for you to make it full-time too.
I mean, I already have
Right,
another job,
yeah.
so I would only be looking for a part-time.
Oh.
But I
see.
wouldn't want to like leave the board just for a
Gotcha,
part-time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's my personal opinion. David,
I'm with
you
you on
guys,
that.
what do
Because
you
we
think,
actually had someone that doesn't even have a job, but the camp host
Mhm.
that wanted to be on the board. I was totally against that too. That wasn't even a paid position to be over there. So I don't think it'd be a total conflict of interest if you're getting paid and also making decisions on the board. I think that'd be a problem.
Yeah, so that's what we talked about. It would come to where I make no decisions and I just kind of sit back here when you guys are talking about that. And
but then I
don't
would worry
involve
about our
myself.
quorum and
Yeah.
the ability to have a fair vote. I could see where that would be. I mean, to me, I would feel like we'd have more times where we would want you to be here and to vote and then not. I mean, if you want to be on the board, I would rather have you be our board member and to be able to say what you want to say.
Yeah.
What are you two?
I don't know, I gotta process that a little bit.
Okay, we can
So-
talk about it next week.
I mean, it's
I mean,
fine.
that's
I
fine.
already have another job. I'm just saying, because nobody wants to work. That position's been open forever and
Oh, exactly, yeah.
I'm just trying to help. but
Well, we have gotten
doesn't
some
matter.
applications and it's just a matter of right now, we're so short staffed trying to schedule interviews. Because we're short staffed, it is difficult because everybody is covering every other position.
Yeah.
So.
Should we,
so-
well, should we talk about Amona at all?
We can.
We talked about that in an open meeting.
Oh, well,
Well, we
Personnel,
don't have
we
to even
go
say
in there.
names. We can say that the positions, so we had 2 employees that left their positions yesterday. They
Oh.
decided that they didn't want to be here when we asked them to commit to being here, being present, being reliable. And it was their choice to walk away. So we are hiring for those 2 positions.
Oh, okay,
So,
one's a permanent management position.
yes,
okay,
yeah, and one is a full-time hourly position.
Yeah.
So,
full-time all year,
yes, at
Oh.
least that's what the one was in the past.
okay,
So,
all right. It's a tough world out there, and it's not just you guys, it's everywhere, so try not to take it too personal, but you just have to let our patrons know that we're struggling just as much as everybody else.
Yeah.
well, the good thing is we do still have 3 employees in there that are covering. So we're not hurting to cover that booth at all.
Yeah,
So we do have that, and we're working with them to make sure they're trained properly and have everything that they need to be successful in there.
good,
So, and we did, I mean, within 24 hours, we already had 15 applications for the campground manager position come in.
good.
That's awesome.
So,
Good to hear that.
We really probably need to consider, when is our next pay upgrade? Is it in January, or is it next July that we have that?
next July.
It's next July.
Mhm,
We really need to consider that in our budget, that,
Yes,
I had Dan McCarty, a farmer, point out to me that, McDonald's pays $15 an
15.
hour and has benefits just like we do, and
Right.
yet, and he said he purposely went out and paid his farm workers, gave him a 3% raise because he didn't want them,
To lose them,
leave.
yeah.
to lose them.
and that has
So-
been something we have been discussing a lot, that we
We're-
didn't budget for that this year.
Yeah, but we're under, like,
Mhm.
under if we wanna
Yes.
not lose those kids to those kind of
Yeah.
things, so.
Well, they did that because they couldn't find
Correct,
employees either,
correct.
In Hermiston,
Yeah.
they did not much, but they tried. They did $100 signing bonus if you wouldn't work for the
Right,
pool.
Right,
Everyone's trying to do different
Yeah.
things.
yeah.
Did we post the maintenance position yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you had any hits on that?
Yeah, we've got 2. We posted it yesterday.
Okay, how long is
How
it
long?
open?
Till filled,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, until
Yeah,
filled.
one of them actually was applying for the park manager position. But he would be really good at the park maintenance supervisor, so
Mhm.
we're gonna try to interview him for that instead.
good. Good. No, that's great.
Do you know how to run a GPS? I'm telling you, you don't know the struggle. I mean, you probably do, because you probably have
It's
to
like
find
it's
something.
real.
Well, I know there's one, the other guy that applied, he's a forester, and I know he knows GPS.
Oh.
so.
Come in and field trial, and see who can do the better job.
Yeah,
And these people are local?
one's in Michigan, the other one's in Owensburg.
Nice.
But we'll interview on a Zoom for the Michigan guy,
Yeah.
and see about the Owensburg guy, if he wants to come here or not.
Yeah, good. Good. Any other business?
I move that we adjourn.
Oh, goodness. Get out of here. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, wait, it's
What
over
board
here.
have you
Oh,
been
yeah,
on?
here.
In terms of
That's it.
Have you been